Well, look, I agree. And Bronwyn, I mean, this kind of brings us to the point that you've got this whole talk about renewables. Reports in the last couple of days that show that Queenslanders have got to get, expect blackouts like South Australians have, like Victorians have, off the back of this renewables thing. Renewables is not going to drive jobs and growth. Renewables is not going to position us to be able to be strong on our values. We're going to be weaker and weaker and weaker if we don't get the economy right. This talk about values by the Prime Minister is right, but governments around the country are ignoring what the Prime Minister has had to say, in my view.
Well, I have to say that speech that the Prime Minister made is the best speech, in my view, he's ever made. And when I say that there are two things that I believe in thoroughly, and that's the philosophy of individualism. There are only two philosophies available, for individualism and collectivism. Individualism means that you can achieve your highest potential and everybody has that opportunity, whereas collectivism means that the collective objective is followed and the individual can be sacrificed to that collective. Now, the Prime Minister came out for individualism. He came out for our Judeo-Christian heritage that has underpinned the growth of Western civilization. He started to stand up for the things that has made this country great. But this is only the beginning. It has to be loud and proud, and it has to be heard and heard again. And then, as you've heard me say so often, that we have to take the big red pencil to our budget. We have to get out of that submarine contract, and I must say I've been reading some things that are looking a bit hopeful about that. We have to get out of that Paris Agreement. The climate change agenda is pro-Chinese Communist Party. The only beneficiary of that policy is China. They produce all the solar panels that come here, all the windmills that come here. They are causing us to have to lessen our standard of living, to think of blackouts as being the norm. Meantime, we send them our iron ore. We have sent them our coal, out of which they are making warships. And 85% of our iron ore goes from Australia to China. Now, we've been fortunate in the price at this stage because the Vale mine is non-operational because of the problems they had with that mine, but they are certainly into Africa big time. And if they can exclude us, they will. So we have to diversify. We've got that opportunity now. We've done it with coal. The price isn't as good, but at least we are diversifying to whom we are selling. And we've got the problems that we've got to tackle with regard to ports, but more of that later, I guess. But at the end of the day, if we don't realise as a country that the only beneficiary of the climate change argument is the Communist Party of China, which wants to be the dominant power in the world, and to see us as a vassal state, we have to have that wake-up call. And I'm very hopeful, perhaps, that speech of the Prime Minister's starting to speak about our values and who we are and what we are, and then we can move from there onto the policies that ensure that we keep those values and stay the people that we are. So we've got a lot of work to do, a lot of talking to do, but you know, when we're strong about the climate change argument, the coalition wins. If we go weak-kneed, we'll lose.